66 million years ago. A rock the size of a city, traveling at 70,000 kilometers per hour, hit the Earth. The explosion was 10 billion times more powerful than the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima. Within hours, the sky turned black. Within weeks, temperatures dropped by 20 degrees. Within months, 75% of all life on Earth was gone. The dinosaurs, gone. The giant marine reptiles, gone. Entire families of species that had ruled this planet for hundreds of millions of years, erased. But not everything died. 3 animals, alive before the dinosaurs even existed, looked up at that darkening sky and survived. They are still here today, and you have almost certainly seen one of them. To understand how extraordinary these survivors are, you need to understand what they survived. Scientists call it the Cretaceous Paleogene extinction event, the worst day in the history of complex life on Earth. When the asteroid hit, off the coast of what is now Mexico, it didn't just destroy everything on impact. It triggered a chain reaction. Wildfires spread across entire continents. Debris launched into the atmosphere blocked the sun for months, possibly years. Without sunlight, plants died. Without plants, plant eaters starved. Without plant eaters, predators starved. The food chain didn't just break, it collapsed from the bottom up. Ocean temperatures dropped. Ocean acidity spiked. Marine ecosystems that had existed for 200 million years dissolved within decades. This was not a slow extinction. This was a planetary reset. And yet, 3 animals made it through. Not by luck, by being something evolution had spent hundreds of millions of years perfecting. The first animal is called the coelacanth, pronounced Coelacanth, and its story begins with one of the greatest scientific embarrassments in history. For decades, scientists were certain it was extinct. They had fossils going back 400 million years. They knew what it looked like. They knew how it lived. And they were completely confident that it had died out with the dinosaurs. 65 million years of silence. No sightings. No remains. Nothing. Then, on the 23rd of December, 1938, a South African museum curator named Marjorie Courtenay Latimer was checking a local fisherman's catch. And there, buried under a pile of other fish, was something that made her stop completely. A fish she had never seen before. 1.5 meters long, covered in thick armored scales, with 4 fleshy lobe fins that moved like legs. She didn't know what she was looking at, but she sketched it. She sent the sketch to a fish expert, and his response, when he received it, was one of the most dramatic moments in the history of marine biology. He recognized it immediately. It was a coelacanth, an animal that was supposed to have been dead for 65 million years, was alive, swimming in the Indian Ocean, right now. Its body has barely changed since the Devonian period. Those 4 lobe fins, they move in a walking pattern, alternating like legs, and scientists now believe they represent the earliest evolutionary step toward the limbs that eventually became arms, legs, hands, feet, yours included. The coelacanth didn't just survive the extinction. It may have carried within its body the blueprint for everything that walks on land today. The second survivor looks like something that crawled out of a nightmare, or more accurately, out of 450 million years of prehistory. The horseshoe crab. And before you underestimate it, understand what this animal has done. It has survived 5 mass extinctions. Not 1. 5. The asteroid that killed the dinosaurs was just the most recent. Before that, it survived the Permian extinction, the worst extinction event in Earth's history, when 96% of all marine species were wiped out. It survived that. It survived the Devonian extinction, the Ordovician extinction, every planetary catastrophe this Earth has produced for nearly 500 million years, and the horseshoe crab just kept going. Its body has not meaningfully changed in 450 million years. That shell, those 10 eyes, yes, 10, scattered across its body, those 5 pairs of legs, that long spike tail, identical to its fossils. But here is the part that changes everything. The horseshoe crab has blue blood. Literally blue. Because instead of iron-based hemoglobin like ours, it uses copper-based hemolymph. And that blue blood does something no synthetic material on Earth can replicate. It detects bacterial contamination with extraordinary sensitivity. So sensitive that every single vaccine, every injectable drug, every surgical implant produced on Earth today is tested using horseshoe crab blood. Every COVID vac-up, every flu shot, every IV drip, tested with the blood of an animal that has been alive since before the dinosaurs existed. The oldest animal on the planet is Kui. You've seen the ocean survivors. Now meet the one that walked through the fire. Literally. The third animal on this list has been on land since before the first dinosaur took its first step, and it is still walking today. Its name is the Tuatara, and it lives on a small cluster of islands off the coast of New Zealand. From a distance, it looks like a lizard, a plain, unremarkable lizard. But it is not a lizard. It is not related to lizards. It is the sole surviving member of an entire order of reptiles, the Rhynchocephalia, that dominated the Earth 225 million years ago. When the dinosaurs first appeared, the Tuatara was already there. When the dinosaurs ruled, the Tuatara watched. When the asteroid hit, the Tuatara survived. And when the dinosaurs were gone, the Tuatara kept going. Alone, the last of its kind, for 225 million years. Now, look closer at this animal, because the Tuatara has things inside its body that exist nowhere else on Earth. It has a third eye, a literal third eye, on the top of its skull. It has its own lens, its own retina, its own nerve connecting directly to the brain. Scientists believe it detects light and dark, possibly helping regulate body temperature and seasonal behavior. No other living vertebrate has this. The Tuatara is also the slowest evolving vertebrate ever recorded. Its DNA changes so slowly that scientists studying its genome described it as being in a state of near complete evolutionary standstill. It doesn't need to change, because what it is, right now, still works. Still perfectly. After 225 million years. But how did it survive when everything else died? 3 reasons. Cold tolerance. The Tuatara thrives at temperatures as low as 7 degrees Celsius. Most reptiles shut down below 15. When the asteroid hit and global temperatures plummeted, the Tuatara kept moving, kept hunting, kept surviving, while other reptiles froze. Extreme metabolic efficiency.
A tuatara can hold its breath for an hour. Its heart rate drops to almost nothing when resting. It can survive on almost no food for extraordinary periods of time. When the food chain collapsed after the impact, the tuatara simply waited. Longevity. A tuatara doesn't reach sexual maturity until it is 10 to 20 years old. It can live past 100 years. It keeps growing until it is 35. It reproduces slowly, carefully, efficiently. It is built not for speed, but for endurance across geological time. And that, ultimately, is why it is still here. 3 animals. A deep-sea fish with legs that aren't quite legs. A crab with blue blood that saves human lives. A reptile with 3 eyes that outlived the dinosaurs. What do they share? Look carefully. None of them over-specialized. The dinosaurs became enormous, hyper-specialized for dominance. When the world changed, they couldn't adapt fast enough. These 3 stayed efficient, flexible, resilient. The coelacanth didn't need lungs, but its fins were ready. The horseshoe crab didn't need intelligence, but its blood was armor. The tuatara didn't need speed, but its patience was infinite. Evolution doesn't always reward the strongest, or the fastest, or the biggest. Sometimes, it rewards the ones that simply refuse to need anything the world might take away. Here is the part that should concern you. These 3 animals, survivors of 5 mass extinctions, of asteroid impacts, of planetary darkness and fire, are now facing something none of those events ever produced. Us. The coelacanth is critically endangered, caught accidentally in fishing nets along the African coast. Its population, unknown for 65 million years, now numbered in the hundreds. The horseshoe crab is being harvested for its blue blood at industrial scale. Hundreds of thousands captured annually, bled, returned to the ocean. But studies show up to 30% don't survive. The tuatara, already restricted to a handful of protected islands, is now threatened by rising temperatures. Its eggs are temperature sensitive. Warmer nests produce only male offspring. A warming world could push its sex ratio into extinction within decades. 3 animals that survived everything this planet threw at them for hundreds of millions of years, now quietly disappearing in the span of a single human lifetime. The asteroid took months to kill the dinosaurs. We've managed to threaten these survivors in less than a century. The question isn't whether these animals are strong enough to survive. They've already proven that, 65 million times over. The question is whether we are wise enough to let them. Follow wildlife unseen, because what we don't see, we don't protect.